Hey, look, it's what if, and we don't walk with a limp. Find us in your local mall, eating bubblegum shrimp, buying half off. Ain't no high rollers, running down the aisles, jumping over strollers. This is what we're mixing, running through your mall, eating General Tso's chicken. I like Panda Express. I like to buy my shirts at Express. I like to move fast in the mall. I call that the Express. Yeah, three times. All up in your real minds. Yeah, riding rides at the Mall of America. It's so terrible. I wish it was Snoopy World again. Damn, what the fuck was it called back then?
Camp Snoopy.
Camp Snoopy. Snoopy
now
World.
It's like Nickelodeon Universe or something, or
yeah,
Lego Town.
No, Lego World is still there. It's Nickelodeon Universe. But there definitely used to be like cooler shit with Camp Snoopy. The Peanuts vibe was strong.
The what vibe?
I know. You gotta say it real. Peanuts.
What were you doing at the mall?
Nuts. You gotta hit that T real hard.
Gotta make sure you hit the nuts hard.
Hit that T in the nuts hard. Heyo.
Jeez.
Dun 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 dun. Hi.
I think that'll be long enough for our purposes. That song, that freestyle. I'll just slow it way down, and there'll be some like DJ Screw shit.
Ooh, chopped and screwed.
Maybe.
Happy Tuesday,
Maybe.
everybody.
It might be.
Or whenever you're listening to this.
We don't ascribe days to things.
We're just floating in the internet universe on whatever day it may or may not be in your world. What's happening, man?
I'm trying to talk about some music mysteries.
Music mysteries are tight. For those of you who are relatively new to the show, this is a very good intersection for Spencer and I.
True.
Mysteries and music, as we are fans and creators of both. Do we create mysteries? Yeah, we create mysteries with this show.
Well, we're about to.
Da-da, dun, dun, dun.
I think it's time for new. I think it's just time for new mic stands, bud.
Yeah, they're a little droopy.
R.I.P.
Little droopy.
Got us through like 120 episodes.
I was gonna say,
I think it's time.
They've served us well for a good 2 years of mystery
and music.
They're tired.
Don't blame
them. Holding up these mics for so long.
Where to begin?
Well, where to begin would be why did
Oh yeah.
I'm fairly certain off mic Spencer said, "Hey, I want to try something at the beginning of this show and I need you to do something for it."
Always a great start.
And I was like,
Also, I brought up in the context of it may or may not be a grift / semi-illegal.
So what I said, the mysteries that we're going to talk about today they're good grifts, and I am always down for a good grift. I like a good hustle. I like a good scam. I don't like people getting...
Boy, do I have one for you.
Sick. I don't like people getting, like, hurt by things, but I respect good hustlers. There's some element of, like, the effort that it takes to try to do something super ridiculous that I just respect.
Then actually make it work?
Yeah, and then making it work. I respect a good scam or a good grift or a good hustle.
I was in, not to say that this is a scam, but more on the hustle side of things and the dedication to said hustle.
Yes.
When Dan and I were in LA last week, we went out to Venice for a minute.
I was hoping that this was going to be Grammys related, something you didn't tell us about scamming your way into the Grammys.
No, it's not Grammys related, but it's just a location related.
Yes.
We went out to Venice and there was a dude on the Venice boardwalk trying to sell CDs.
Oh, dude, probably the same dude that's tried to sell them to me when I lived out there. Was he doing the whole hold the CD thing and then ask for $5 afterwards?
See, we didn't really get the full pitch, I don't think, because about 5 seconds in, Dan was like, "Wait, do I know you?" And it turns out that they went to MCTC together, which is a community college here in Minneapolis.
No way.
So they went to community college like 10 years ago together.
Bro, small fucking world,
and then
man.
Dude was like, "Oh yeah, here, take this. My social media stuff is on there. You should hit me up because you make beats and I rap and blah, blah, blah." So we didn't get the full pitch, but I was like, I couldn't stop thinking afterwards, like, is this dude, A, is he out here like every day doing this?
Yeah, right.
B, is he selling enough of these to like at least break even on making them, and like that's a lot of time dedicated to just, and then like maybe, you know, you don't have to pay yourself for your time, obviously, but like you got to make money at some point.
Right.
And then like, if he's not selling a bunch of them, is the promotion worth it? Like, does this visibility increase? Like, are people streaming his music more?
Yeah.
Are people coming out to see him perform live more? And I just can't, I couldn't see any of it really working, honestly.
Yeah. But he was going for it.
Yeah.
There were dudes.
And he was like, it was not a young man necessarily. He's probably like, you know, late 20s, maybe early 30s.
Sure. There were.
I just hadn't seen it in so long. I was like shocked that people were still doing that. And like, then it made me reconsider if that was somehow viable.
What I'm doing.
Well, not even that, but just like, am I missing something? Like, is he actually making this work somehow?
Right. No, that's real. Like I said, like there were cats that were doing this when I was living out there, and it's like, it's often the same set of dudes. And I feel like something has to be of value.
Right.
Because otherwise it wouldn't keep happening, especially with like the same cats. Like I would see the same cats out there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't go down to the boardwalk for a month and a half or 2 months or whatever. Same dudes out there, same stack of CDs, same pitch, great pitch, but same pitch. And I'm like, you're not going week to week or month to month doing this every day if there's not some return on investment. I don't know what it is. To your point, it could be like less financial, more conceptual, more, you know, buzz, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's
like,
got to be
also
some
promoting,
return.
you know, a show or promoting something else, and then if somebody happens to buy a CD, cool. Or like, are you really selling 40 CDs every day or something?
When is the last time you intentionally bought a CD?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I honestly can't tell you.
Yeah.
I used to, like, when they were first kind of being phased out, maybe like almost 10 years ago now.
Right.
I would buy a lot of used CDs because it was cheaper than for like stuff I need to have music on my computer for when I DJ.
Yep.
And so for like older music or stuff that was available on CD used,
Yep.
I could get a whole album for like $2 or $3.
Right.
Rip it instead of paying like $10 on iTunes, or
download
even
it
like
from
if
there.
I was going to, you know, play more than 1 or 2 songs off of an album, it made sense.
Right.
And then I stopped even doing that honestly, probably 10 years ago.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm probably one of the last people that still actually buys MP3s.
Where do you buy them from? You buy like Bandcamp?
I buy stuff off of iTunes and Bandcamp like pretty regularly still.
You? Yeah. I mean,
there's still no good streaming DJ programs.
That makes sense. And we've talked about this before, but like every time you go to a venue, you have to rely on Wi-Fi to be able to be a good streaming DJ, and that is highly suspect in a lot of places.
Yeah, you can't count on it yet.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't buy music anymore. I mean, I pay for multiple different streaming services and I listen to a shitload of music, but I don't pay for like individual songs anymore.
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
Okay.
What's our grift?
So I got down this rabbit hole of fake, because we started out talking about, when we were planning this episode, started talking about fake bands, essentially.
Yes.
Like bands that in some way don't exist but do at the same time.
Yes. I think that's fair.
But not like fictional bands, not like Spinal Tap or like whatever.
No,
I don't know how to describe it.
No, I think it's more like a manufactured entity.
Someone wants us to think these are real bands, but maybe they're not.
Yes. And there are multiple different reasons behind these entities wanting you to think they're real. Some are financial, some are fame, some are strange, some are, yeah.
So I came across a couple articles from late last year and earlier this year about Spotify accounts. People would be logging into their Spotify accounts and seeing, especially I think it came out around the end of the year because people were getting their like, here's your top artists that you listen to, and here's how many minutes you spent listening to this artist, and you were in the top 5% of listeners for this band, all that kind of stuff that Spotify was pushing out.
For sure.
And a lot of people were seeing those stats and saying, what the fuck? I don't even know who that band is. I've never listened to them. Who are these artists that I listened to for 500 hours last year?
Interesting. And they were probably just blaming it on Spotify's algorithm, being like, your algorithm's fucked up, or
they thought that their accounts had been hacked, or that someone had, someone was sharing their account essentially,
it's like when
without them knowing.
It's like when people use your Netflix account and then you get like recommended for you, The Great British Bake Off, and I'm like, damn it, Spencer, get out of my Netflix account.
Exactly.
Why you be watching these sugar cooking shows?
I finished another season last night, by the way.
Wait, did you start and finish another season last night?
Dude, it's okay. Every season is 10 hours. I'm not that that deep.
Maybe you just needed to have a very, very relaxed Spencer day, taking care of you.
No, it's been...
I'm going to eat ice cream. I'm going to take a bath, and I'm going to watch 10 straight hours of Great British Bake Off.
Anyway, so people, these bands were coming up on people's Spotify stats, and so people started looking them up to see, like, who is this, like, something that I didn't know I was listening to, or they featured on something, or like, who are these bands?
Right.
One that was coming up a lot for people was this band called the Berganulo 5.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Sounds like a jazz group.
And people started digging in and finding out that this band did not appear to exist anywhere other than on Spotify. Like, they had no social media presence. They weren't on other streaming services. You couldn't buy their music anywhere. They didn't appear to be playing shows.
Okay.
They existed solely on Spotify.
Interesting.
And they had 2 albums. One was called Sunshine Here, and one was called Hit It Now. And the cover, yeah, right?
Dude, Hit It Now is a very strong...
The cover art was just white text on a black background.
Oh, trying hard. Mm-hmm. Trying hard.
Each album had 40 songs on it, all between 1 and 2 minutes long. And I can't play it because A, legal reasons, and B, these things are no longer on Spotify. But so I haven't actually heard the music, but apparently they didn't have like traditional song structures. It wasn't like a verse, chorus sort of structure or anything like that. It was just like 1 to 2 minutes of some sort of music. And both albums had like about 60,000 plays on them.
For all the songs on the album combined?
I think they're saying like an average of 60,000 per song.
Got it.
Which doesn't seem like enough for it to be showing up in a bunch of people's stats. 60,000 streams is not that many these days.
Well, but it's 60,000 streams for 40 songs for 2 albums.
Yeah.
I mean...
I don't know. But they appeared to be like fake bands. No one could verify that this was a real group recording and releasing albums in the way that we usually think of artists doing that. And so Spotify took their music down. Yes.
So that rough calculation, 60,000 plays on average for 40 songs per album for 2 albums.
60,000 times 80.
Yeah, 60,000 times 80 is 4.8 million.
So they garnered a total of 4 to 5 million streams.
Yeah, like
across the 2 albums.
Right. But if people were averaging somewhere around like 50 plays in their top songs for those songs, that's like 96,000 people. Or if it was 500, you listen to these songs 500 times, or this band 500 times.
Yeah.
That's still like 10,000 people who would have listened to their stuff.
I couldn't find specific stats on this stuff because it's been taken down. So I'm just relying on news articles, and there weren't a ton of those either. But
so I had one more question, which was, At what point, I mean, we'll get into this with some of the other stories we're going to tell today too, but like, at what point does Spotify go, this isn't real or this isn't music, we're going to take it down?
I mean, they have a fraud, essentially, department.
Yeah.
So somehow this must have triggered, people talking about this must have triggered them going to manually, because there's no way they manually review every release that's on Spotify.
They couldn't possibly.
And they work with so many third-party providers that there's no way.
Right.
But this must have triggered someone from that department actually going and looking at and listening to and doing some research on these things and saying, yeah, this is not, I don't know what this is, but it's not the content that we want to provide.
Yeah, I
think they basically have carte blanche to take anything down at any time.
Yeah. This will come up later, but they're not like public about the algorithms they use to identify this type of stuff, or like stat manipulation or whatever. But a lot of people speculate that it's things like if your music shows up on relatively few playlists, total playlists, not just Spotify playlists, but just like people have added it to a playlist. If it shows up on very few playlists but has a lot of plays, because playlists are like the primary discovery mechanism on Spotify for people.
For better or worse, yeah.
For better or for worse. So they know that that's a big like indicator. If it's on a bunch of playlists and it gets a lot of plays, that makes a lot of sense. If it's on like 2 playlists, but it's getting 5 million plays, they're like, where is all that attention coming and why aren't people adding it to playlists as they listen?
There are workarounds for that these days too, though.
There are. And I found a really great YouTube video that I'm going to reference later.
So this information is coming from mostly a BBC article by Jonathan Griffin. And so Spotify took it down and both the albums down, and people are trying to figure out like, what is the point of what is the point of this type of music being on Spotify? And B, how is it getting there and how are they getting so many streams? Because while 60,000 is not like an insane number, you're not going to get 60,000 streams on random clips of music without promoting them, without having an actual following.
Right.
No one's stumbling across 60,000 streams on Spotify.
No. Go ahead.
One of the theories in this article by Griffin for the BBC is that people may be accessing people's Spotify accounts and therefore Spotify playlists through something called access tokens, which was something that allows you to link your Facebook and Spotify accounts or log into Spotify via your Facebook account.
Yep.
And when there was a huge data breach of roughly 50 million Facebook users last year, that potentially opened up a lot of Spotify accounts to being hacked and or remotely accessed as well.
Those access tokens are usually API related, which basically means like if you've offed another party to use that token, it stores a token that allows it to talk back and forth to it, so you can manipulate things back and forth between the two different applications. If someone grabs that token and pulls it into a separate application, they can do that same level of manipulation between two different applications, potentially without you knowing it.
So the idea that they're proposing is that via these access tokens, people were gaining access to actual users' actual Spotify accounts,
and steering them
and adding these songs to user-generated playlists.
Interesting.
Which then also would look to Spotify like people were really listening to this music.
Sure.
Because while you can't obviously add things to their curated editorial playlists or their algorithm-based playlists, they don't monitor what people are putting on individualized, personalized playlists. And some of those user-generated playlists still have thousands of listeners.
Yeah, some of them even more.
So that was fascinating to me in terms of like, A, who the fuck is making this music?
Right.
B, who is getting access to it and promoting it? And C, how is this actually worth it? Like, are they really getting enough money out of this to make it worth the time and effort? And like, maybe law breaking that's happening here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's definitely law breaking in like using other people's access tokens. If it doesn't belong to you, like that's essentially impersonating someone else and hacking someone else's account to steer their like efforts towards your shit. So that's for sure illegal.
Right. The part I'm less clear about is there are services like Streamify, I think is one of them.
Yes.
You familiar with that one?
Streamify is one of them. The other one is mymusicviral.com.
Oh boy, that sounds
super legit, right?
Streamify came up with like a cool name at least and tried to present like they're doing something legit.
Oh yeah.
Although their stock photos are fucking hilarious. So Streamify offers, here. Whether you want to get more fans, boost sales, or just monitor your play counts, actually they say plays count,
Sick.
Streamify has the answers and insights you need to get your songs played more. I'm going to click on services on their website. I have seen this same stock photo in so many locations.
Oh, he's so good, man. It's like, it's this guy like kind of with a sultry lean on his bass guitar and like kind of staring into the camera like he's like real serious about his music. He's wearing like a black sweater and like black glasses.
That's a black sport coat over a black turtleneck.
Oh, buddy.
Also, he has no facial hair save for the soul patch, and he's got at least a full bottle of gel in his hair.
Bro, it's like if James Bond was like born in like 1988 and grew up listening to Blink-182.
He looks like more of a Steve Vai kind of guy to me, but
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
That's right. That was a guitar reference for y'all. So they offer Spotify plays. You can give them money, and they say in return they will get your music played on Spotify.
Yes,
and they have tiers of options for those plays.
So what you're telling me is we're going to take that snippet at the beginning of this episode and we're going to put a bunch of Streamify money behind it and see what happens?
That's sort of the idea.
Okay.
So the tiers that they offer, 1,000 plays for $5.
Yes.
5,000 plays for $20. 10,000 plays for $40. 50,000 plays for $150, all the way up to 2 million plays for $2,250.
$2,250
for 2 million plays.
There's no conceivable way that you ever get your return on that investment, because that's such an astronomical number that Spotify would have to catch that before you even got that many.
So I think in an effort to counteract that, they let you select the amount of time over which those plays will be quote unquote delivered.
Got it.
Anywhere from 1 day up to 180 days. So a day up to 6 months. If I click on 2 million, the shortest amount of time they will deliver that in is 30 days.
Got it.
So I could give them $2,250, and in the next month, they guarantee, apparently, 2 million plays on a song of my choice. It also does not have to be your own song.
That's crazy to me.
I can just type in an artist, it'll pull up their catalog, I can select a song, and if I give them money, they will somehow deliver plays to it.
That's crazy to me, because I think like you could totally screw over somebody else.
Yeah, is there anybody whose music you want taken down?
Right?
We could do it for about $2,000.
Well, so this is actually, I read a really interesting article in Verge this year. It was called Dirty Dealing in the $175 billion Amazon marketplace. And it's all about how competitors with products that go head to head against each other will actually buy fake positive reviews for their competitors.
There's no, I mean, if you've ever read those, there's no way that they're all written by actual human beings who have used those products.
But the difference is, instead of buying them for themselves, they're buying them for their competitors so that they trigger Amazon's
that's fucked up.
Amazon's algorithm, and then they think that they're buying for themselves and then get their competitors' products taken down.
Damn.
So
I mean, I don't know what there would be no benefit in this scenario to doing that because you're not competing directly with anyone. But that's crazy.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are some musicians out there who, say you're like part of a specific scene or something like that. If you could knock out 10 of your competitors.
I'm sure there are people who feel that way. I don't think that's real. I don't think someone else is costing you money by existing.
No,
not
costing you money by existing, but imagine you are every 10th song on an EDM playlist. And if you can knock 3 or 4 of the artists off of that playlist, then you're every 4th song. Does that make you more money? I don't know. There are people that I think are willing to try that.
You're spending so much to do it, though.
Well.
So what I got to was trying to figure out what the actual return, just the monetary return on this investment would be.
You for sure lose money.
You don't. So I went into my own Spotify and TuneCore accounts.
Go listen to Big Cats, motherfuckers.
Whatever. Just to figure out how much I was getting paid per stream on Spotify over the last, I don't know, I think I looked at either 6 months or a year or something.
Can I quote the industry standard for Spotify and see if it matches?
Sure.
Most places say it's 0.0004 cents.
Yeah, it
per stream.
Came out to 0.00435 for me. So
maybe I added one too many zeros.
Yeah.
0.004.
Between 4 and 5/10 of a cent per play.
Hundredths of a cent? Tenths of a cent.
Tenths of a cent. Thousandths of a dollar.
Okay.
So, yeah. Basically, for whatever time period I was looking at, it was about 10,000 plays that came out to about $50.
Got it.
So,
and the 50,000 one pays out or costs how much?
So I made a chart, Ryan.
Sick.
And I did some math.
Sick.
We
should tweet
math show prep today. In prepping for this podcast, which I don't always do to begin with, I also did math and made a chart.
Yeah, we're going to frame it. We're going to put it on the fridge. We should have a studio fridge, dude.
Yeah?
Why not?
There's some room in that corner over there. We got a little mini fridge. Trying to run up my electricity bill, though.
Well,
there's so much shit in this room already.
That's true. You are running
run an extension cord to the basement if we're going to do that.
You are running a significant amount of electrical devices out of this room. That's true.
Okay. So if we were using Streamify.
Yes. Hypothetically speaking.
Whatever. Anyone else can go access this information. It's on their website.
True.
This is on them. 1,000 streams costs $5 on Streamify. Spotify would pay you out $4.35. So your net return would be negative 13% of your investment.
Yep.
Not great. 20,000 or 5,000 plays, which is their next tier, costs $20. Spotify would pay you out $21.75 for those same streams.
So you make $1.75.
Make $1.75 or 9% back, roughly. 10,000 streams is $40. So same percentage return, you'd make $3.50. 100,000 streams cost $200.
Yes.
Spotify will pay you $435 for those 100,000 streams.
Yes.
You're now making $235 or 217% return. 200,000 plays will cost you $300. Spotify will pay you $870 for those same 200,000 streams. So you'd be making $570 or 290% of your investment. For 1 million plays, Streamify will charge you $1,250 and Spotify will pay you $4,350. So you're making $3,100 or 348% of your investment. For 2 million plays, it'll cost you $2,250. You will be paid from Spotify $8,700 for a profit of $6,450 or 387% of your investment.
People have killed for significantly lower ROIs.
387% is pretty damn good. Fuck, 9% is pretty good.
Yes, 9% is pretty good. Okay.
Also, they jumped from 9% to 217% is their next tier.
I have two very important questions.
Yes, I'd love to hear them.
If this is a viable, if this is not just an entire scam where they are just straight up taking your money and not giving you the plays, if it's not that, why are they doing this when they could straight up just be like putting songs on Spotify, putting whatever mechanism they have on behind them and making way more money than...
Well, because you have to generate the music. You have to have music to promote.
Yeah, but like you could go to free Creative Commons music websites, straight up download those songs, put them on Spotify and put money behind them.
Yes.
Like that's a thing that, well, that's what they did in the Bulgaria case that we'll talk about later. But like that's sincerely what you could do. There are Creative Commons websites out there with people who make music that is literally yours to do anything you want with.
There's AI generated music these days.
There is also AI generated music.
You could crank out literally endless amounts of music in a endless amount of styles
and put $1,000 behind each song and make $3,000 a day.
Yes.
Well, guys, it's been a really fun run here at the What If Podcast.
So what am I missing?
We didn't
aside
realize,
from this probably being illegal.
Look, guys, it took us 120 episodes to get to our new business. So thanks for helping us get here together.
We out of here.
We'll be sharing our new tunes, quote unquote tunes, with you all through our methods.
Is it just that this is super illegal, and or if you're doing this consistently, Spotify will take down your music? Like, is this a one-time thing?
So, okay, one of the things I'm curious about, doesn't Streamify say it's real listeners?
They do, but that could apply loosely to the scenario we were talking about where it's getting added to real people's playlists.
Sure.
Just not by them.
Sure.
But that would still require them actually listening to it or it getting played in order to get paid out on those streams, right?
Which, yeah, so the YouTube video that I referenced earlier was there's all kinds of Spotify bot players that are available for download.
Sick.
Or you can straight up like put in a Spotify link to a song and you can actually like upload a CSV of like different Spotify accounts with like names and passwords and shit. And then you can say like, how much of the song do you want to be played? Do you want it to come through a proxy so it looks like the IPs are distributed? Do you want it to be added to favorites or a playlist? You can check all these boxes and then you set this thing to go and it goes and opens up Spotify web players for different accounts and different browser windows for you and then plays the song or playlist that you choose on repeat. It's crazy, man.
Is that illegal?
Okay, so here's what I don't understand about whether or not it's illegal. Are you technically in Spotify's like terms and conditions? Are you doing anything illegal? Because technically you're playing the music.
I'm sure you're somehow breaking their terms, but that's not the same as breaking the law.
Also
their only
true.
recourse would be to
Boot you.
Yeah, which who cares?
Right, because you can go start another account tomorrow if you want.
Right.
Another question that I have that I don't fully understand is how does this apply with free accounts?
What do you mean?
Like if I'm not a Spotify premium user, if I'm a free user and I go like play a bunch of a song, is that stream worth the same amount of money? Yeah. Is it just because I'm hearing ads in between and that's where the money comes from?
By
okay,
giving you advertising.
Got it. Is it fraud? Are you defrauding them of money? Is that why it's illegal?
Maybe.
The first reference I've seen to Streamify is like from 2000, like early 2017. If this was illegal, would they not have been shut down by whatever country they exist in multiple times?
I would assume so.
I would assume Spotify, with all of their money, would be like pretty unhappy that a service like this exists.
So I'm looking at Streamify's FAQ right now on their website. First question is, how are you distributing plays?
Yeah. Great question. I'd want to know too.
They're in touch with their audience at least.
Yes.
They say, quote, Spotify tracks Spotify track plays are sent to our huge partner list that includes music promoters, DJs, online radio stations, playlists, they're typing, and various other parties. That's a little suspicious. We provide them only the Spotify URI of the tracks you give us. We do not provide partners with any information about who has requested those plays. You're answering questions I didn't ask, which is always suspicious.
We have preemptively absolved you of guilt. Right. Congratulations.
Next question. Are plays guaranteed? And it says, yes, / do you have a money back guarantee? Yes. You should receive all plays in a maximum of 5 days after your order is complete. If you have not received at least that number of plays, we will refund you 100% of your order.
I wonder though if they if you get your music booted because of it, if they go like, well, that doesn't concern us.
Yeah, does that apply if your music gets taken down? Probably not, because then they can't provide those plays.
Yeah.
So my question is, or one of my questions is, in the first example we gave, Spotify concluded that was not a real artist, right? And that seemed to be the rationale for removing that stuff, is
the Bergel 5 or whatever.
The
Meisterburger.
Yes. They didn't seem to be a real band, and so it was apparent that someone was running some sort of scam, even if they couldn't determine how or why. This wasn't a real band who was putting out real albums.
Right.
What if you are? What if I'm a real band that plays shows and has a social media presence and releases albums on a regular cycle and promotes them and all that stuff that bands do?
Yep.
And I'm paying Streamify to give me maybe fake streams.
Yeah.
Do they have a way of proving where individual streams are coming from and whether or not it's people actually trying to listen to my band?
Yeah, so I would imagine two things. One, I would imagine their algorithms are for sure identifying the IP address of the listens that are happening. So if there's randomly out of nowhere a spike in the listens for a band from Croatia and, all kinds of like Eastern European countries.
Where normally you have none.
That's probably a big red flag for them. And then another one I would say is probably the algorithm is probably also detecting like if these specific accounts, right? Because whatever they're sending to various other partners, if those are just like tokened accounts,
which it sounds like they probably are,
right? They're probably not banning the listening accounts, but they're banning the musicians' accounts, right?
I don't know.
I would imagine that's the case.
That's fucked up too, though, because you can do this with anyone's music,
right?
So I could go
Drake. We could go give Drake 3 more million plays on some old song,
or like we were talking about earlier, I could go give you 1 million plays on one of your songs.
Yeah,
your shit gets flagged and taken down, and you would legitimately have no idea why or what happened.
Why.
You would just get an email from Spotify, or maybe not. You would get a tweet from a listener saying, "Why isn't your shit on Spotify anymore? I can't find it."
Right. Which seems super dicey. Like that's a super dicey.
It also doesn't solve the problem at all.
No.
It does nothing to prevent Streamify from making money off of this, and in theory or hypothetically, bands from making money off of this.
Right.
Before, I know you have stuff you want to get to, and we've been at this for 40 minutes. But before we move on,
we'll do part 2. I think because there's a lot to talk about. We'll do stuff in the Patreon this week. Hey, really quickly while we're talking about it. Oh no, go before we move on. Then I'll talk about the Patreon.
I just have one last thing to wrap this up because I want to release the minute. It has to at least be a minute, so I'll slow it down and chop it or whatever. Streamify won't let you promote songs that are less than a minute.
Okay.
The freestyle from the beginning of the episode. What's our band name?
Oh my God,
and
dude.
What's the song name?
First of all,
and how much are we spending on this?
First of all, okay,
three-parter.
All very important things.
I think I know the song name.
We have said add it to the list on the show 7,000 times, and we have never actually added band names to the list.
But there is no list.
There's not an actual list. Dude,
unless
you know
one
what'd
of
be-
you is keeping it whenever we say put it on the list.
God,
It's an
that would be-
instruction.
That would be incredible if somebody just hopped on the subreddit and was like, I made the list. And it's just all the times we said put it on the list.
The phrase is not, I'll add it to the list.
Yeah.
I'm instructing someone else to put it on the list.
It's just a cosmic,
Yeah.
dear universe,
ether.
put that on the list.
The song should be called Mall Raps, right?
Yes.
Okay.
As in a play on Mallrats.
Oh, sure.
Was that not what you were going for?
I don't know. I just thought you were rapping about the mall.
I did rap about the
All right,
mall,
cool.
but also Mallrats.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
I have.
I've never have.
Shot here in sunny
that's right.
Minnesota.
Was it Southdale?
Eden Prairie Mall.
Eden Prairie Mall.
Yep. So you got it. That's how you have to stylize it. It's MALL, no space, RAPS.
Got it. Artist name.
Oh boy, we've had so many.
I mean, the first thing that jumps out at me is Robot Grandma.
Yeah, it's just about whether or not we want to use that at another point. All right, let's do Robot Grandma.
This shit's going to get taken down anyway.
It's got to be, right?
This doesn't preclude us from using that in the future.
I do also think, for what it's worth, that we should have an artist account for the What If podcast, and we should just retroactively go back and chunk out all of our freestyles and like beats and stuff that we've put on the show, and just put those up on Spotify.
Like little 5-second things that Mason has done.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, artist, Robot Grandma, song, Mall Raps. What's our budget?
So I'm actually curious. I'm more curious if we can go under the radar than if we like really blow it out of the water.
No. I think for a variety of reasons, I think somewhere in the middle of this is going to be best for us.
And
A, because I'm not trying to spend like
$2-3 grand,
$1,200. But B, because I think we have a better chance of it not getting taken down, especially since we're telling thousands of you about our idea to do this right now. And exactly how we're going to do it and where and for how much money.
Wait, you know what we do is next time when it's live on Spotify, we just say to the thousands and thousands of you listening, hey guys, go add this to your Spotify playlist.
That's the other part of the game. Yes. Yes. We're going to have an update as soon as it's live. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay.
So 10,000 plays is $40.
Okay.
Then it's a big jump to 50,000 plays is $150. To me, 10,000 feels like the sweet spot.
I'm good with that.
$40 commitment.
Let's do
probably
that.
fly under the radar.
Let's do that.
We can get you guys a couple weeks from now to legitimize us and like actually go play the stupid song a couple times.
I think, you know what might be really funny is to just do 10,000 streams a month until they take it down. Like
Patreon.com/whatifpodcast.
Like until just keep doing it until they're like, this is bullshit. And then they take it down.
What if that's like years from now and we just created
a monster?
Well, wait.
I mean,
how much do
it
we
will
make?
be a fascinating journalistic experiment for us to see.
We're only making $3.50 off of our investment for this one.
But the cool part is it essentially pays for itself.
And if we're doing anything
every time,
and if we're doing anything illegal, at least it's only $3 at a time.
Yeah, they're gonna boot us and be like, "Oh, you conned us for a grand total of $36 over the course of a year." Sorry, it was a journalistic experiment. Here's your $40 bill back.
Right. Okay. So our budget is $40 for 10,000 plays.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. And I think we spread it out over 30 days.
Okay. Let me make sure that is an option.
I'm pretty sure it is because I actually
10,000 plays. Yep. Okay. Yeah, over a month.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's the move. And then we just do that at the top of every month, and we see how long Mall Raps by Robot Grandma is alive on Spotify.
So we do it with the same song rather than making a new one each month.
I mean, if it's
that's way
up
more fun.
there,
Yeah, you're right.
It's
if it
kinda
gets
like,
taken down, do we make a new one?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. It reminds me of, there was a comedian, Joe, what's his name? Joe
Rogan.
Nope. Joe Mandy?
I don't know.
I think it's Joe Mandy, who he basically did a similar version of this, but with one of those services where you can buy Twitter followers.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like, I'm going to have 2 million Twitter followers. And just every month he would spend like $100 on adding like 50,000 Twitter followers to his account.
To his own actual account.
And told everybody that he was doing it while he was doing it, just to see.
Does this guy still have a Twitter account? And does he have like 1 billion followers?
It is Joe Mandy, by the way.
How many followers does he have? 68 million.
That would be pretty funny.
Has he been indicted in the Russia probe yet?
577,000. So they definitely must have stripped away all his fake followers.
I don't know. Maybe he started with like 10 real followers.
I guess that's true. All right. I like this experiment.
Robot Grandma mall wraps, $40 for 10,000 plays, spread out over 30 days.
We got to make some art for it.
Hey, those of you that joined us on the Fund Your Fuckery level,
heyo,
you're welcome. We are providing some extreme fuckery.
We should speak to that quick. Patreon.com/whatifpodcast. We do 2 episodes a week, every week.
Didn't we already do that? I thought we just said that. No?
You said Patreon,
okay.
but I'm just trying to tell everybody, for those of you who are new and joining us, you can get an additional episode every week. This is a 3 episode. We also do a paid episode. Big thanks to all the folks that keep joining. And we this is what we do.
We'll do dumb shit with your money.
With that.
And also give you an extra episode.
And we'll tell you all about it and document our findings as journalists, damn it. Tried and true journalists.
I apologize.
Speaking of the Patreon, we're going to have to carry over some of today's episode onto the Patreon, right? Because I feel like there's so much more to talk about.
Sure. We got some time. What do you got?
Well, so the story that I feel like makes the most sense to tell right now, because it's so related to the one that you told, is the Bulgarian Spotify hackers who made, estimates are roughly $1 million last year. Hacking the system, and also potentially didn't do anything illegal in the process.
That is my dream for us. That could be us, and we could do so many stupid things with that $1 million.
This could,
and tell you guys all about it on a weekly basis.
This could be us.
And we would sound so good.
Oh man, we would sound so good. We would be the butteriest assholes this side of the Mississippi.
Jesus Christ, bro. You can't say those 2 words next to each other.
You know what? You're right.
God damn.
You're right. We would have the
fuck no, maybe this guy's bullshitting
Fuck no.
Couldn't even control myself. I hit too many buttons.
So many buttons. Fingers are too buttery, bud. Hey. Okay.
Face your fears, son.
There you go.
Anyway, what about these hackers who made $1 million semi-legally?
Here's what we don't know. So there's this great Daily Mail article about this. The title is by Tim Collins, and the title is "The Incredible Spotify Scam That Created a Millionaire. Bulgarian playlist maker uses bots to legally swindle the site's payout system and make a fortune."
Swindle.
Isn't that awesome? It's a great
legally swindle.
It's a great way to say it. So here's what they did. And this is why I think this version of this might be legal. So they took their own money and set up 1,200 paying Spotify accounts.
Okay.
So Spotify premium accounts.
Yeah.
At $9.99 a month, that's $12,000 a month, which is like, that's a shitload of money.
Big commitment.
That's a big,
a little more than we're willing to invest.
Yes, we are on the way other side of that. So they set up 12,000 paying Spotify accounts. They then uploaded what we think is roughly a total of 400 to like 500 tracks to Spotify, all of which were less than a minute long. And they put them onto a playlist. These are also down off of Spotify now, so we can't listen to them. But we think what they were was just, like I was saying earlier, Creative Commons music, where for those of you who know Creative Commons stuff, a lot of those songs aren't full, like 3.5 minute songs. They don't have lyrics. There's like free instrumental music.
There's a shitload of copyright free music available on the internet.
And a lot of it is, like, most of it is pretty crappy. There is some that's decent, but a lot of it is just,
it doesn't matter though, right?
MIDI, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It just needs to like look relatively song like in nature. I'm reading off this Daily Mail article. I'm also pulling from this guy named Tim Ingham, I think is his name. Ingham.
Okay.
Wrote a really awesome article about this in let me pull it up really quick. Damn it.
That could be another angle for us. Just make a bunch of really shitty, whatever. Some of it could be shitty, some of it could not. Like royalty-free, copyright-free music.
And just see where it travels in the the universe.
Or just put it on some, some Squarespace site and let people license it for like $5 a pop or something.
That's a great idea. We should do that. Would you guys, if we made spooky backtracks for you guys?
I'll figure out a way to like make some MIDI templates that we can just drop various, sounds and samples and stuff into.
And then I'll freestyle over all of them.
I don't think that would be quite as valuable, honestly.
People will pay me for my raps.
Not quite as versatile if you're rapping about the Mall of America on top of it.
You got a good point there. But
higher value for Bubba Gump.
True.
Lower value for the average person.
I'll rap about ghosts on some of them, though.
Perfect.
That'll be
for your ghost blog.
For my ghost blog. Tim's article is in. It's called Music Business Worldwide, which is like a big music business blog.
Oh, thanks for clarifying what that blog is about.
You're welcome. If it were not clear,
I wasn't sure. Wait, what? It's about music. What?
Business.
Oh, so like money and like how people
make it.
Yeah.
Including Bulgarian scammers.
Okay.
So the vast majority of the sub 1 minute songs that this artist uploaded were just over 30 seconds, which, if you don't know, that's the trigger point for when Spotify actually plays. Counts a listen or a play. Seconds. Yeah, and that's also the barometer for when they pay out, because it means someone listened to the song.
Got it.
I'm pretty sure there's a similar thing with, like, when you get a YouTube ad.
Yeah.
If you skip the ad, the advertiser isn't charged. Yeah. But if you watch a certain amount of it, it counts as
same thing for play counts and stuff. Yeah.
Right. So the one playlist they made total was 467 songs. The playlist is called Soulful Music. Each song, the average song, was 43 seconds long.
Okay.
They used a bot or a software of some kind to have all 12,000 of these accounts that they created, paid for with their own money.
Wait.
To go
1,200, right?
1,200. Sorry.
1,200
accounts to go play soulful music, the entirety of the 467 song playlist, on repeat.
Just front to back,
nonstop,
24 hours a day?
24/7, 365.
Okay.
So
you said the average length was 40 some seconds?
43 seconds, but often the bot was, they think the bot was skipping right at like the 32 second mark.
That would make sense.
To take advantage of the time. So yeah. I'm gonna use Tim Ingham's math here to help this. You
didn't do your own calculations, Ryan?
Did not do my own calculations. No, none of the charts present in today's episode belong to me. There are 86,400 seconds in a day.
Okay. So you divide by 30.
So Tim writes, the potential amount of total listens that a single individual premium Spotify account could rack up within this playlist across a 30-day month, if they were playing those songs continually 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, would be just over 60,000.
Per user, per month.
One person could play 467 songs, a total of, not per song, a cumulative total of 60,000 times.
Okay, and then there were 1,200 of those accounts?
60,000 monetized tracks across 1,200 premium accounts in the same month period.
Yep.
That's out to a total of 72 million Spotify plays.
Yep. Per month. For a cost of, well...
0.004 cents per.
No, I'm trying to figure out how much money was going out every month to make that happen.
$12,000.
Yeah, but like, where are these? You have machines that are playing these things, right?
Yeah. I mean,
they're in a space that
You probably have to have
You must rent or
many computers going to make this happen.
and then you have electricity and things associated with that.
Sure.
But yeah, okay.
I mean, let's say, the other thing is if you're going to do it for multiple months, if you buy all the computers up front, you're just paying electricity after you have the upfront investment.
If you have a space.
Yeah. Call it an additional, 20, 30 grand a month?
Yeah.
Electricity, machines, rental space, whatever you want
30
to call
grand
it.
a month, maybe.
So let's say all told $40,000 a month is what they're spending to make this thing happen.
Okay. For 72 million streams per
For
month?
72 million streams. Now
We're
that's
definitely coming out ahead.
That's if the songs were played to their full average length of 43 seconds. If they did have so if the songs were played all the way through, Spotify was paying out $288,000 a month to them.
Damn.
So that's a net profit.
That's a better ROI than Streamify.
Right? That's a net profit of $240,000 some dollars. If they were using a bot to skip tracks at that 30-second-ish mark, this is still from Tim Ingham's math, by the way, you would be able to fit 103 million plays per month across the 1,200 premium accounts every 30 days, which would net out to $415,000 a month.
And 350, 360 of that is probably profit.
Right. And
goddamn.
So here's the thing that Tim writes in his article.
How'd they only make $1 million off of this?
So here's the thing that Tim writes that I think is super fascinating. He says, we don't know how many playlists these guys had. This is just one of the ones that came to rose to the top because they were pumping so many plays into the playlist that it actually shot up to be the third most listened to playlist on all of Spotify for a couple different countries. And apparently Spotify actually passes out industry level data to music labels.
Yeah.
So they send out a report to the music execs. I'm sure it's a list of thousands of email addresses that get it every month. And somebody was like, soulful music. Oh, I'm going to go poke around. Starts listening to it. Is what the fuck is this? It's
this is neither soulful nor music.
Yeah. I mean, it might have been all music, but it might not have been very soulful. And it probably was extremely confusing. Yeah. Alerted Spotify to it. And that's when Spotify came down, figured out what was happening and shut it off.
But even if they had multiple playlists, I mean, it's not like other people were listening to these probably, or very few at least, because it wouldn't have been listenable.
Well, so what they think though was they were, because it rose up so high in the most listened to playlist that it was actually getting recommended to people, even though the music wasn't good. So,
but even if it's getting recommended, you're not going to follow that playlist. You're not going to listen through it. I mean, maybe people would listen to a couple of them before they figured out this is not something I want to listen to.
Sure, but I think the hypothesis is if they were getting 103 million plays a month just off of their bots, if they had triggered one extra listen for one recommended person for each one of their manufactured plays.
That seems high to me, but yeah.
Maybe.
I'm sure there was some. Yeah.
Even 1 in 4, you're still adding another $100,000 to your profit a month.
Yeah, for sure.
For one, additional play.
Do we know how long this lasted?
We don't. Again, this stuff has been taken down, so we don't know the artists. We don't really know how long the Soulful playlist was up there.
If they only made $1 million, I guess we could estimate it was about 3 months.
Well, we don't know how much they made. We know that Tim had a source that said he believed the Soulful music playlist was on Spotify for 4 months.
Okay.
So you can say, based on those estimates, probably at least $1 million, if not closer to 2.
We don't know how many people were involved with this either, though, right?
We don't. No, we don't. I mean, I would imagine it takes a relatively sizable pool of hackers or developers, or
does it?
I mean, not sizable, but a handful of guys at least.
I wonder though, how are you making that many different accounts? How do you go about making 1,200 accounts?
That's a great question.
Especially if one person or one group is paying for all of them. that would have to be suspicious on the front end, I would think.
That you're saying like that the same card would be attached to so many accounts or
however you're doing it, yeah.
Because, how else would you be doing it? I mean, you can't.
You have to have a card associated because it's a recurring bill.
Right. And you don't have, there's no way you open 1,200 credit card accounts.
Right.
That would be almost impossible.
I wonder if you set up a corporation, if you can have a larger number of like corporate accounts or something.
Sure.
And
then they all run through one main bank account somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that could do it.
I don't know how they do that stuff.
The other thing that I'm curious about is, do we know that all 1,200 of them were paying accounts? Because I haven't found
As opposed
anywhere
to what?
Free accounts, because then you don't need a card for any of them.
Well, but then you're drastically reducing the amount of time that you can spend listening.
For sure, but also you're not paying anything up front, and you don't have to go through all the hassle of setting up the accounts.
Well, you still have to set up the accounts. You're just not getting billed for them.
Yeah, but it's significantly less hassle to have to attach a credit card to each single one of them.
Maybe. Maybe. Not if they allow hundreds of accounts on one larger account.
Yeah.
Or from one bank account or credit account.
My guess would be you can run like script bots that it'll look for field and input like corresponding text to do that. My guess is they created a CSV sheet of first name, last name, email, address, billing address, card number, expiration date, whatever. And they just ran a script bot on Spotify's website for 50 days or 100 days or whatever, and just created 10, 12 accounts without even touching it every single day.
But for whom and with what cards?
What do you mean?
I'm saying who is...
I'm imagining all the accounts were straight up fake. You just make fake email addresses. You make everything is fake.
What payment is attached to those?
Well, that's the question. We don't know. It's probably something like you said. It's either a corporate card or maybe they had, maybe they had 30 credit cards and there was, 30, 50 accounts per card.
I guess we don't know. Since we don't know who was doing it, we don't know how concerned with doing this legally they were either.
Right.
Huh.
Right. The thing that I find really fascinating though is like, if you're paying for the account, there is no rule against playing music nonstop. Like you can, like Spotify can't tell you not to play music 24/7, 365 with their service.
I'm sure there's something in their terms that says essentially we can terminate your account for any reason at any time.
Right.
So obviously they invoke to that.
Right.
I can't imagine you're doing anything illegal.
That's kind of like what everyone around this story was so like wow about, because
the only part I could see being illegal is if you're using false names and addresses and information to create the accounts. You might get into some gray area / illegal area there.
But even that though, like how many times have you, like when you go to create an account on a website, you don't want it to be like, I don't want this to go to my X email. So I'm just going to like, I have 3 different emails I use for like different types of things. And I don't know.
I'm far from a lawyer. I'm just thinking if that's then associated with making $1 million, maybe it's different.
Yeah.
Rather than like, I have a spam email account.
Right.
That's obviously different than
manufacturing.
I am a business making $300,000 a month.
Right. Manufacturing 1,200 fake accounts.
Yeah. Strictly for profit from one specific other business.
Right.
Like that may venture into fraud territory. I don't know.
I think the interesting question around this, and maybe our fucking
Can we recreate it?
Well, our journalistic experiment is
what
going to...
are you doing tomorrow, bud?
Our journalistic experiment is going to net this out. But what Tim and a couple other people have hypothesized was it's a distinct possibility that if they hadn't been so gumptuous with we're going to like pump so many plays into this playlist every month that it's going to raise...
Or just put some real music in it.
That too.
I mean, obviously that diminishes the. Well, I don't know. What if you just put real songs in there? Obviously, you have to get them from somewhere.
Yeah.
But like, you could have done the same thing, and instead of calling it soul music, called it like ambient or like chill out or something.
Sure.
And put a bunch of just like totally ambient soundscape shit in there that I'm sure you can find just as easily.
Yes.
And wrote the script to skip after 31 seconds.
Yes.
So the songs could look a normal length. They could fit the description of the playlist. They would still be doing it.
Right. And then don't pump 100 million listens
or
of it.
do. And no one, I mean, they only got caught because someone actually started going through it and saying like, oh, this is not what it says it is. Something is fishy.
I mean, yes and no. I think there's also the risks of, do the artists have listens coming from other places? Do they have monthly listeners that are coming from other places? Are they getting added to other playlists in other locations? Like, there are other, I think, like barometers for whether or not something is legit or not that I'm sure Spotify taps into. But again,
it would have taken a lot longer at the very least, though.
For sure it would have. And I guess my additional question is, would you hit any of those barometers if
I don't think you would, man.
If you scaled it down by half or by less than half? Like,
this leads me to think though that they knew some aspect of what they were doing was either illegal or like borderline. Like, we're gonna max this out quickly and just
take a paycheck and roll for as long as it lasts.
Rather than like, we don't want to do this for 3 years. We want to do this for 3 months and be out.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah. And the other thing too is like, a lot of this data, we don't actually know for sure when they started. We know this specific playlist, Soulful Music, was up for like 3 to 4 months. So who knows?
Be doing it somewhere else.
Dude, real talk. Like a bunch of people are hypothesizing maybe they had a bunch of smaller playlists that they were doing this same shit with different accounts. Like
maybe Ariana Grande is not a real person.
Maybe Ariana Grande is a total robot, and
maybe those 20 million streams a day are going to someone in Bulgaria
who is just living large in their warehouse of computers. All right, y'all. We love y'all. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to leave us a voicemail, it's 612-246-4614. If you want to send us an email, it's hi@whatifpodcast.com. This week on the Patreon, we're going to talk more about this because we have a couple other stories we want to talk about related to scamming the music industry and coming away with a good grift. Otherwise, we'll update you guys.
Stop calling it a grift.
Next week on our good grift.
A great business plan.
Journalistic experiment. That's what we're sticking to. We love you guys. Thanks for listening. See you next week.